It is live.
We are
We are only 8 minutes
not too
late
shabby
this week.
for us.
I think that's an improvement on last week, which was like 15.
Better.
I don't know what the long-term trend is. It's like it's either getting later or earlier, but more time is required for us to figure this out. But hello, everybody. Hello, chat. Hello, panel. The panel, as is also becoming increasingly common over time, most of the panel will just turn up at some point. There are more people coming. They just haven't got here yet. But we figured, yeah, we might as well just get started. There's not a huge amount happening in the world this week, over the last week even. Not in the world of pop culture anyway, that we've been able to find. So we might keep this one a little bit shorter. I figure, though, just while we're treading water until everybody else arrives, there was a little thing. I don't know if anybody caught this earlier. I think it was today, or it might have been late yesterday that broke, but Technicolor is closing. The big old animation studio that has been, I think it's been alive for like 115 years.
Yeah.
Worked on all the old original Disney stuff. More recently, to be found working on things like the recent Disney stuff, which might explain why it's gone.
Why they're closing. No, I hadn't heard that yet. Oh, damn.
Yeah, it happens. They cited a number of things that they've been like in significant financial trouble for a while anyway. Obviously, the coronavirus stuff, which is, it's a fair, I think, in this case, to blame coronavirus for massively fucking their balance sheet. But they also said that the lingering impact of the 23 writer strike, WGA and SAG-AFTRA, that was basically the thing that wrecked their cash flow over the last 2 years. And so any attempts they were making to recover were then thwarted by the fact that it just seems so like wildly fitting for the current era is that writers who are shit at their jobs went on strike, and the people whose job it is to polish their turds are the ones who lose their jobs. It's great. I love it.
It's also, I remember hearing at the time that like how many writers are actually supposed to be on like a movie production at this point is eventually, it's like a house of cards. It's just going to come tumbling down because of how expensive it's going to get. But
yeah, you'd think so, because that was one of the conditions of the strike, wasn't it? Yeah, we want minimum writing room sizes of like 5 normal people and 2 executives, and then we want like extra pay for this and royalties for that, and don't use AI to replace us because it will do a better job, and all the rest of those kinds of things.
Yeah. Well, that was a lot of people say woke's being put away, but the problem is it's written into law, like the actual rules of Hollywood. So how do you get around that?
Just look at the awards. Yeah, look at the Academy Awards. So the pinnacle of the profession, in a lot of their opinions, is winning an Academy Award. And those literally have DEI standards to even be nominated. So it's not going to actually go away. No, I saw our good friend George the Giant Slayer made a banging video, and he released it yesterday about how woke is dead. But I don't know. It's just kind of being put on ice and hidden, in my opinion. It's never going to go away.
These companies are still like just inundated with these assholes.
Yeah.
And like, plus, I don't even know if they can deprogram, because they've been writing in a specific way for about 8 years. It's like trying to tell someone to be funny, who like, it's like going to Goebbels or Himmler, going, all right, kind of put away the craziness and be a comedian. I don't think they could really kind of do it.
Yeah, you're just hiding it.
Because they've been authoritarian assholes. That's the thing.
Yeah, and they hired other authoritarian assholes as well who are now on contracts, and there are all kinds of laws about like you're not allowed to sack people except if you've got these conditions, and if you sack too many people and it seems like they're all women or black, then it might be racism, so you'll get sued. It's very difficult to untangle like the massive complex web of things that's been introduced to support this ecosystem. So yeah, it could take a while. And also the bet is, I think, that if they just hold out for 4 years, they've got a chance to come roaring back again, because so much of this is just contingent on who's in the White House. That you see the same thing in the UK. McDonald's has said, unlike in the US, we're keeping all of our DEI hiring requirements. And that's because the government is still in power in the UK. And so the entire thing is just a reaction to whoever happens to be in the White House or Downing Street. They think, in 4 years' time, we've got another shot. If after 4 years they are still fucked, then they might have to start reconsidering. But it will be interesting. I still need to watch George's video, actually. I know he sent it to me. I need to make some time to cram that in. I've heard good things about it, though.
Yeah, same. Well, it feels like Jeff Bezos, those types, like the billionaires, are all in the party together here and having a ball together. So I'm just wondering if like that's, you know, Jeff Bezos participating in activities with Mark Zuckerberg, who's, you know, who was at the White House during the inauguration. It's like, is that actually going to affect anything positively on the landscape of, you know, Amazon Prime and the shit they're pumping out?
I mean, the short-term maybe benefit is that we might theoretically be able to say retard on YouTube without getting demonetized. I mean, that would
I would
be nice.
love that.
Yeah. Having just said it, that would be good. Like a little bit more speech on YouTube. Like the nasty words should be allowed to be said. That'll be fun. But I guess we'll see. On the Amazon side of things, so yeah, will it maybe determine who they cast for the next James Bond? Because I know that was on our docket list today.
That was on the topic list today, indeed.
Didn't Bezos put out like a Twitter poll saying, who do you think fans should be the next James Bond? It was,
wouldn't it overwhelmingly be Superman himself?
I think it was something like 60% or more. I haven't checked it recently, but I think it was over 60% saying, yeah, Henry Cavill should be Bond.
Isn't that cycle where Henry Cavill's perfect for a role, gets in shape for a role, gets fucked over in the role, leaves, goes to the next role?
He's like still young enough too. He's only 41. Yeah.
It'd be awesome. Bond. But the thing is, though, I do think they'll probably give us a white Bond because they're trying to make Bond into this giant content mill where you just make like a money penny series and all these horrible spin-offs. And the best bet to do that, to not sink the ship, would be to give us a Bond everyone likes. That's if they're thinking long-term, smartly.
Well, that could apply to so many things. If anyone was thinking smartly in these movie studios, they could just give us like a Captain America we like too. But they don't want to do that.
Well, isn't Jennifer Salke still in charge? And she cancelled it was a Conan. She went, it's too masculine, and she just cancelled it. I think she's still in charge of Amazon's TV department.
But surely, if the last few years have taught us anything, is that there is no such thing as a character or a series that's so masculine it can't be feminized. I feel like they've got quite good at doing that. Like, didn't the last He-Man Netflix thing basically make him dead and useless?
I forgot. Why'd you make me remember?
God, I'm glad I skipped that. It sounds Jesus.
He dies, and she goes, "Yeah, but I had to live with it." Made his death about herself.
So wait, that was He-Man?
I got a chance to see that. That was He-Man.
Wasn't that Seth Rogen that did that too?
No, that was Kevin Smith, was it?
Oh, that also makes sense.
He went, "Listen, bro, it's going to be cool and masculine," and it just wasn't. He was a fucking liar.
God, that dude wouldn't know what the fuck that even means.
I think someone took Tila's hair off, and they took the makeup off, and it was just a man. The way they just drew it with like an iron jaw.
God. Oh,
yeah, it was. I don't know. If they're smart, if they want to bait people in first, it's like what Netflix used to do. You give them a good first season, you give them a good James Bond, which, to be honest, it would follow the cycle of Cavill, where you give him James Bond, everyone loves it, then you put him in horrible shows to ruin him. That would just be typical for him. Like they did with Witcher.
So what was the trajectory of how this all went down? Because it all happened over the last couple of days. Because I thought I thought that they were hanging on to Bond pretty strongly out of the clutches of Amazon and MGM. And now all of a sudden things have shifted. A lot of money must have been thrown around, I would imagine.
You would think they would have offered quite a lot of money because, I mean, Amazon already owns MGM, doesn't it? But it was the creative control over the franchise that was retained by Barbara Broccoli and whoever is her male slave. And they've decided that, though they retain the rights to the IP, creative control has been shifted. Largely because she just said no to everything. And Amazon said, well, we kind of own it and we need to make something at some point. How about we pay you off? And eventually it sounds like she said yes.
Do you know what? Barbara Broccoli, it got leaked that she said about Jennifer Salke that she's a fucking idiot.
I think I saw that.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. That's fucking incredible.
Jennifer Salke is indeed a fucking idiot. Because because she wanted to make it into content, and Broccoli was going, no, it needs to be every 3-year experience.
Which I am sympathetic to. I mean, I don't like the idea of making it into content, but there should be a happy middle ground between not turning it into content farm and also still occasionally making movies. And they haven't. When was No Time to Die? When did that even come out? That was
2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember now.
Oh,
it was delayed because of COVID, right? By like 2021.
Yeah, that was exactly. Didn't Mr. Brown say that was the first film he'd gone out of lockdown to go and see, and it was that movie, and he loves James Bond. And Jesus Christ, I'm so sorry for you, my friend.
Did he want to go back and
I still haven't seen it.
I have only seen it the once, I think. I don't think I ever rewatched it. And I know lots of people who just refuse ever to rewatch it, and some people who'll say they'll never even watch anything else to do with Bond ever again because they killed the guy. And like I can sympathize with that. It's my job to watch this kind of shit, so I'll probably see what they put out next. But can't wait for Moneypenny, the Star Wars story, or whatever it's going to be called.
Well, if you look at Marvel, like Disney Plus has probably been the most hateful thing to the franchise, putting it on TV, because now audience has to go to 2 places because everyone would just go to the theater. It'd be a cultural thing. Everyone goes together to see the next Marvel movie. Now you've got to watch fucking Ironheart on Disney Plus to understand what the fuck's going on in the next movie.
Yeah, I was seeing a lot of complaints online about like Hideo Kojima, or I forget how to pronounce his name. Kojima's response to Captain America: Brave New World. He was like, "Wait, all this happened? When did I vaguely remember him becoming Cap and or getting the shield in Endgame and blah blah blah." And people were ragging on him like, "Oh yeah, imagine you have to watch other content to enjoy this content." It's like, you shouldn't fucking have to. They even said that you wouldn't have to before the shows started, and now look what happened.
And it's still not a guarantee, even because if you'd gone to say watch Secret Invasion because you thought I'm going to need to see this before the Marvels comes out because Nick Fury's in both, that wouldn't have fucking helped you because the Marvels pretends the Secret Invasion doesn't exist. And to a large degree, Captain Falcon 4, Falcon Harder, also pretends that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier didn't exist either, because so much of the key stuff that happens in that is just kind of forgotten. They have some of the same characters who are holdovers. They share some nouns, but they pretend like as much of the story didn't happen as possible.
Yeah, it's really incredible that Marvel just kind of picks and chooses what is canon, and like maybe this from the show does apply, but maybe it doesn't. You'll have to watch, and then you'll see the result when you go see the film if we actually decided to make it canon or not. It's God, the most egregious thing is actually film to film, which would be the Celestial sticking out of the water. And that doesn't even have anything to do with the television shows.
But they didn't even consider what adamantium's going to do to the world, because vibranium made Wakanda this super science state. They just went, oh, this is even better than vibranium. And nobody considered what that effect that would have on the universe.
But it's they almost did, and then they realized that they had no idea how to apply. Because they make it the big point in they say, oh yeah, for many years, lots of nations have been struggling over this adamantium in the giant dead god statue in the ocean. It's okay, for the MCU just kind of forgot to show us any of that. But let's take it as true, fair enough. But even then, they don't really know how to turn it into a story, because it's just, oh yeah, random assortment of nations, Japan, France, and India, and they want to sign a treaty with America to equitably distribute the adamantium to the whole world. It's like the anti-Wakandan principle. We
Make
will
sure
not
to give plenty to North Korea.
Yeah, give it to North Korea. But I think the original plans for the movie, because they were supposed to have is it Contessa something or other, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character from Black Widow, from Falcon Winter Soldier, from one of the other things that she pops up in. She's head of the. She will be in Thunderbolts, but she's supposed to be the head of the CIA. She is the head of the CIA in Wakanda Forever. And I think the original story for this movie was her secretly trying to steal the adamantium, because they did recognize how important adamantium was going to be to the entire world that they're trying to build. So of course people will try and steal it, and people will try and do nasty spy stuff about it because it's really important. But then they cut all of that from the film, and it just, fuck it.
Well, speaking of Captain America, since we got on that subject, its box office total is in. I wonder if the final figures are in, but so if you remember correctly, it had a B- cinema score, which is the worst in MCU history, I believe. And B- cinema scores you actually have to look at on a sliding scale. So a B- is more like a fucking F, honestly. So with that in mind, we predicted that it would be falling off the face of the earth over its second weekend, and sure as hell it did. Its Friday to Friday total was 82% drop off. It fell from, I think, a $40 million Friday to whatever the fuck that math's out to, but it wasn't much. I think it's like 7 million. And the final numbers do not look to be in yet, but it has the third biggest drop in MCU history, behind only Quantumania and the Marvels, which was an astonishing 78% drop. So
is it behind? Wait, if it's got an 82% drop, then it's on
no,
top
it's
of the
Friday
Marvels,
to Friday was 82,
Oh.
but its overall
No,
weekend and currently is estimated at 68%.
Yeah.
Oh, because I think it probably has changed since, because we went over some of the box office stuff on EFAP on Saturday, and I think it had at that time, I think it was a slightly bigger drop than even Quantumania was, but maybe it's leveled out at some point.
It probably is worse, in my opinion, because I watch box office trends just as a hobby, and I've never seen a movie quite. Normally it has its second weekend, it'll have a huge drop. MCU movies in particular will have a huge drop Friday to Friday, and then recover a little bit on Saturday, and then its Sunday total will be almost identical to the Friday number, and they're estimating that it's like astronomically bigger to try and make the drop look less catastrophic than it is. And they lie about box office numbers all the time. They can skew them by a few $1 million. So it probably was over 70%, in my opinion. They lie about this shit all the time. Like, they're lying about the fucking budget. So why wouldn't they lie about the box office when that's what studios generally do?
Lying about box office is a lot harder usually because it's out of studio hands, and it can get them into a lot more trouble than lying about a budget, because it directly will affect investors and stuff. Where like a budget, they can move a lot of numbers, but moving numbers from other companies is like just straight out fraud. Where you can kind of argue moving numbers within your own company isn't fraud, it's math.
Yeah. Just like how Return of the Jedi never made any money. By the way, I think you got to switch your mic.
So you're adjusting your microphone there, thinking that's not going to make any difference. You're not even using that microphone.
Wrong mic there, bud.
There we go. Now I'm fancy.
There's a good point. What you do is you just sell it differently. Like, you go, it's the fastest selling film. With that doesn't really mean anything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They've been doing that. I've seen so much cope. Like Captain America 4 has crossed $289 million. Its budget was $180 million. Like, you're trying to tell me that it's a success. I fucking know the truth. But any normie is going to look at that and be like, wow, this movie's successful. It's not. It's a huge bomb.
And they always
say the third highest opening of a Captain America movie.
The third highest opening.
Not adjusted for inflation.
They always go like biggest box office opening, and it's a 5-day box office weekend.
Yeah. It's a $100 million opening. It's 5 fucking days. It's not a $100 million opening weekend. It's like an opening week.
I can't wait for the articles that are like the highest rated black lead Captain America movie in history.
Yeah.
Well, they've already started doing this. There was one that we covered on Saturday. I think the headline was something like Captain America 4 beats the MCU's biggest bombs total gross in just 1 week. It's like, so it takes a few minutes to try and unpack what they're saying there. Yeah, but what they tried to mean is it made more money in a week than the Marvels made in total, I think.
Yeah.
But if that's your comparator, it's always telling what comparators people use. If all the comparators are with the Marvels, it's a fucking awful movie, because sensible movies don't need to compare themselves to the Marvels.
Well, the thing is, though, all those fastest things are to sell to the normies. It's basically FOMO, going, this is the big thing. every time, trying to get you to go to the theaters. But this film has no rewatchability. Like zero.
And I had to watch it 3 times.
Why did you torture yourself?
God, I had to.
I'm still going through it and quite prepared. As we enter the 3rd week of the movie, most of the viewers for this movie will be me still.
Yep.
It's like the current trajectory of the box office, it'll just be me watching it and someone who fell asleep in the cinema and accidentally woke up in it, I think.
God, sorry, I'm looking for this comment that was hilarious. I just wanted to highlight it. I lost it. No, there it is. It's true.
I put that in my script. I never got around to voicing it. That Jewish midget.
In my script, she got shorter as I went through the movie.
You can't take any scene she's in seriously. It's so ridiculous. She's so tiny.
Oh, she takes you right out of the movie.
There's a scene when the scene when they're walking out of Echo Base, and they've clearly made her walk on the hill to make her look less short than everybody else, but she still looks so short. It doesn't work.
She's that weird height where she's not quite a dwarf, but she's not quite like a midget.
She's an in-between.
Yeah, she's a weird kind of like 3rd height species.
She talks like a midget though.
But she walks like a dwarf.
She does. Every time I saw her walking, I just expected to hear like meh, meh.
She's like a manlet.
She's listed as 5'2".
She's not 5'2".
No way.
No way.
Nope.
How tall is Mackie though?
He's got to be well over 6 feet. I'm sure Google has an answer. Let's see.
Because that was my original theory for that, is that obviously she's going to look extra short because surely they cast unusually tall people to be superheroes, right?
5'10".
But he's not that tall. And also, when you see her standing next to, I don't even know what this character's name is. It's the woman who should be Rhodey, but Rhodey isn't in the movie for some reason. It's Captain Falcon's friend. She's Ross's assistant. Even next to her, midget lady is really small, like to the extent that she could headbutt her tits. That kind of small. Even then, so they're not. She's not standing next to tall people, and she's still tiny. Imagine if they'd stuck her next to somebody who was actually over 6 foot. That would be very funny.
Like David Cornsworth.
Yeah.
He steps on her.
So Reaper, you did see this then, yeah?
I did see it. I just got ill afterwards. I don't know if the film did it, probably, but I'm still writing a review.
Yeah, it probably was responsible for your illness, sir.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but you are doing a review on it.
Yeah, I'll do a review. It's stupid. That's just the number one thing. It's like you've got a guy with a brain coming out of his skull, and he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, she would have looked totally normal next to Tom Cruise. It's true.
But it's so strange. Like, you can just tell this film was gutted. Like, it had, like, that, again, talk about that black woman. You can tell she had a much more bigger role that just fizzled out into nothing.
Oh, yeah, there's loads of that. Like, it's the midget lady turns up wearing a superhero suit under her jacket at one point, and you think, where did she get that from? What does it do? Who does it belong to? Why is she wearing it? Will we ever? No, we're never going to see it. She's out of the movie.
You know they should have done? She went, my power, I'm Captain Israel, and I control America from the shadows.
That's one of the theories for why they cut so much of her character. It's between that and the fact that generally there's lots of sensitive stuff that happens in the world around Israelis at the moment, and they're so obviously cowardly. Because if you also look at the way the trailers play out, there's so many scenes. Like there's one, for instance, where the villain is sort of waltzing through a crowd wearing an Uncle Sam hat. And like my theory is that the movie was originally going to be way more like in-universe political, but in a way that could be read as extra universally political as well. And that tested poorly. I don't doubt that originally it would have been way more cynical. There would have been comments on like the evils of America in going around the world stealing things. One of those lines actually does make it into the movie anyway. And they were too cowardly to stick it in. And so instead of a coherent but maybe unpopular film, we got an incoherent and unpopular film. And I would way rather they just had the courage to stick to whatever the original cut was.
So you'd rather politics in your Marvel than not politics in your Marvel?
I would rather politics in universe. I mean, like politics what I want first and foremost is a story that coheres and makes sense, and that is obviously got a lot of quality. Because if you look back through like the films that the director cites as inspirations for this, it will be things like 3 Days of the Condor, it'll be things like The Day of the Jackal, it will be things like your traditional Cold War-esque spy thriller, which are obviously political and they obviously reflect a type of cynicism about the real world. But they work as movies, and I don't watch those thinking, oh yeah, 3 Days of the Condor, that hates America, and therefore it hates everything I like. I look at that and think that's a really good movie. And yes, secret services do shady shit all the time. That would have been great, fine by me. And if it had been preachy, like The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that would have been worth criticizing for that reason. But as long as it coheres, I would be way happier than what we've got.
Yeah, because they have no convictions to stand on with this movie, and not that I would actually want any politics beyond what's universally noted, like in Winter Soldier. But at minimum, I would love to see what they had. I don't know. It would make for a far better movie than just this glossed over muck that we ended up getting, because there's no backbone to this film at all. And
do you prefer this or like The Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Because The Falcon and Winter Soldier is at least funny for the memes.
It is funny for the memes, and it's something to really sink my teeth into to tear apart.
Yeah.
This was just like a fucking hour and 40-minute nothing burger.
I was listening to you guys before, and I think the only thing we're going to remember from this movie is the little Hobbit, like that creepy little thing. That's pretty much it. She's a week later, and we're all still baffled by her science.
Just what the fuck?
What is that? Yeah.
I mean, I watched this dude throw a shield around that breaks physics constantly. I can take a little person just wrecking some shit. I guess my disbelief meter is a little higher than most people, because if I use my autism brain and I watch a Marvel movie, I'm like, none of this makes any sense. If you apply like a drop of science to anything in this universe, it just implodes. So like, yeah, 4'11" and takes down 5 dudes in a hallway. Like, all right.
I know it's not that I can't suspend my disbelief, because I certainly did for 10 years while Steve Rogers was throwing the shield around. But I think it's a better question to ask of why the fuck did it not suspend my disbelief this time? Like, why is it sucking me out of the movie? Because I still can for Deadpool and Wolverine and shit like that. So it's not that I'm too old.
In Ultron, they actually fixed my issue with his shield, and he has like a brace on his arm that the shield like comes back to and attaches to. It's like,
yes.
And they took it out of the movies for some unknown reason.
Backface, you're so right. I remember that detail being like so satisfying. Like, okay, it's bullshit, but at least they try to account for it with some type of magnetism. And like, it's Steve, he's a super soldier. Maybe he practiced off screen, whatever. With Falcon, I just roll my eyes every time. Like, bro,
because there's a bit in this movie where like he throws it blindly through a doorway that he can't even see through, and of course it just bounces perfectly and takes everyone out and still lands back in his hand. Yeah. You didn't even look before you threw that shit. It makes no sense. Like, you don't normally think of Age of Ultron as being qualitatively better than most modern Marvel films, because it's quite comfortably the worst of the Avengers movies. But yeah, it had a higher fidelity than most of the shit we get since Phase 4.
Well, you also had Spider-Man ask him say in Civil War, that thing doesn't obey the laws of physics at all. And Captain America just said, he just goes, look, kid, there's a lot of things you don't understand. And then we just move the fuck on.
Yeah, exactly. I would prefer that. At least we can kind of be tongue-in-cheek about it. Yeah. But the way they do it now, it just, I almost think it's filmed worse with Falcon as well, in addition to it being less believable with him. Something about Steve, we gave him a pass, like we all agreed on, but like I don't know, they've pushed it to a point where now it's like annoying seeing him with the shield.
It's believable that a dude with super strength can throw this thing and it can bounce off 8 surfaces and come back to him. But just a normal dude, unless you're,
why is it working for him?
Like Olympic level javelin thrower, maybe, but just. Like 5'10" Anthony Mackie can hurl this fucking shield around and it bounces. Like, I don't know, man.
That geometry is coming around.
Oh, dude, I still love this movie, man. I still think
you were the one who liked it.
So fun. It's me,
How
dude.
Dude.
As soon as, dude, he rode that missile for like maybe 8 frames in a movie, and I will never let it go, man. That was the coolest shit ever, dude.
So dumb.
So dumb.
So dumb.
But it's the exact dumb that I needed. And I honestly thought like he did pretty good. And my bar was so low for him because everything I've seen him lead in, I don't like him. I think he's not really a good leading actor. Yeah, but
Cap is
brought it. He brought it in this, even though the movie's shit.
He's trying his best. I don't have any issues.
Yeah, I had no problem with Anthony Mackie. I just thought the character of Sam Wilson was written really wooden and poorly because we just didn't we didn't get anything out of him except the end that Platoon's made fun of so much. But like, you know what? I am incredible and I never fuck up. You're right, buddy.
He was like, what could you do as an actor with a character whose arc is you can't kill me. I'm impregnable. And then the end of the movie is, yep, you still can't kill me, and I'm still invincible. So well done.
We've had this question answered with all the other Mary Sues that we've seen in the past. He's just pretty much a Mary Sue now. They made him perfect. They made him overpowered. They made him liked by everybody. And there's nowhere to take a character like that because they're already complete. They're at 100 from the beginning. Who cares?
Disney kind of put themselves in between a rock and a hard place when you're trying to do the whole like, yeah, we really love black people, but then if you show any faults of black people in a way, there's a whole side of the world that's going to be like, well, that's racist. And there's another side of the world that if you don't show any faults, are going to be like, what is this?
That's racist.
Exactly. So you're kind of just fucked either way. And I'd rather he be a human with faults, but that's a lot to ask from a multi-billion-dollar international corporation.
You'd think they'd just be aware of the strength of their characters. Him being weak was a fundamental part of his character. It was how he was introduced, losing the race to Cap, and everything else. And like, you don't have to be overpowered. That's usually going to get people bored and have them rolling their eyes. The fact that he was such a great side character and did his part, even though he was underpowered, is what made me like him. And now it's just like they've lost sight of that completely.
Especially, I've been rewatching Daredevil in preparation because I want to be able to juxtapose the new season with the older stuff to see if there's a drop off in quality. And the best parts of that show are watching him get his fucking ass beat.
The fact that he gasses out.
Yeah.
The fact that he needs to catch his breath. We can all relate to that. And in those little details just make you appreciate fight scenes so much more versus someone who, like compared to Echo, if you watch Marvel's Echo, she never gets injured. She's never out of breath. She never gets hurt. She's taken on like 3 guys. She'll get like a triple headshot. Like she's Rey Skywalker. Like it's insane. Versus someone like Daredevil, where it's just so much more enjoyable when you put in those details.
She killed the Kingpin.
Pretty much.
And he's back again.
He's got that resurrection serum. He's back, baby. We do have some super chats. We can get to these real quick.
While you find that, I just noticed because the Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie, the audience score was sort of stuck rigid on 80% over the weekend.
Very rigid, isn't it?
It is still stuck rigidly on 80%.
Isn't that amazing?
I know. Almost like you can't trust anything Rotten Tomatoes gives you.
But also, I think you guys really overestimate the average person's intelligence. Just saying.
I don't think so, because on Metacritic,
accused of that ever. How dare you, sir, accusing me of thinking people are clever?
On Metacritic, it has like a 4.7 out of 10 for a user score, which sounds about right. Starry Azul for $1.99. I forget how to say this guy's name. I bet, is it Chudy?
That sounds right.
That sounds right. Yeah, I bet Chudy is cast as Bond or Amandla. God, take old biddies at least,
because he might be leaving Doctor Who, right? That was the rumor that came about last week.
The thing is, though, it's Disney's refusing to bankroll another series, so I think he's pushing it out like, "Oh, I'm not being pushed out. I'm jumping. You're not throwing me off the boat." I think he's just trying to get ahead of it, trying to act like, "Oh, it's my decision to leave," not the fact that no one's willing to fund this travesty of a show.
I think he's moving to America as well, isn't he? Because like, obviously, if you are an insufferably energetic black gay actor, then obviously Hollywood's going to snap you right up. So I think he's probably got loads and loads of jobs lined up, and he doesn't really need this weird little British holdover show anymore.
God, I watched the first 3. The only 3 episodes of Doctor Who I ever watched were his first 3 episodes.
Oh, no.
Why?
What? Well, I was going to do a video on it, and I was going to call it, like, after I watched the first 3 episodes, I was like, Doctor Who deserves its downfall. That's what I was going to call it. So that was a fucking disaster. That was so bad. I understand that there's decades of Doctor Who to be enjoyed, so I can appreciate that. But as if you're a first time watcher like I was, it'd be like, why the fuck is this show possibly still on? If this is the quality I'm getting is absolutely terrible.
But that's the frustrating thing with these crappy adaptations and sequels is like someone's first experience of Star Wars is going to be the Acolyte. It's going to happen for somebody. You know what I mean? So like someone's first experience of Doctor Who is going to be that fucking fool, you know?
Well, the problem is
kind of sucks.
The problem is like at this point we've got so many bad Doctor Who, so many bad Star Trek, so many bad Star Wars. It's starting to like outnumber the good stuff.
Oh yeah,
you nailed it. There's majority of Star Wars content is shit, and that bothers me as a Star Wars fan because the OT is a very special thing to me.
So it's like, just ignore 99% of Star Wars and you're fine.
And you're good. Oh, well, that's kind of like Alien and Predator, where there's, two good movies in each franchise, and then everything else has been absolute dog water.
ABC is one of the good ones,
that to people as well. It's like, what's your favorite movie franchise? Star Wars. It's like, oh yeah, well, where should I start? So, well, there's only 2 good movies in it. So where do you want to start with one of those? So why do you like this franchise again? Because, there's loads
Return of the Jedi is at least half a good movie. Throw them
okay, 2.5 good
2.5. Fair enough. I accept that.
Well, Lord of the Rings is having the same problem. You had War of the Rohirrim and you got Rings of Power. Yeah, so already it's the good and the Hobbit films as well. So you've got bad Lord of the Rings content is outnumbering the really great trilogy.
The Lord of the Rings trilogy is so unstoppable, though, that it's going to take 100 Hobbits and Rings of Power to even scratch the surface. It's just, people laugh at Galadriel. Nobody pictures that little morbid Clark Hobbit when they think of the Peter Jackson trilogy. It's found a way to just scoff off the Rings of Power. I feel like the Rings of Power is done the least amount of damage to the Rings of Power to Lord of the Rings compared to so many other franchises.
They're doing a Gollum sequel and they're trying to get Andy Serkis to come back. They're trying to get Gandalf and Viggo Mortensen. So once you see your characters that you actually like do a fucking horrendous movie, that is the poison that really starts to kill a franchise.
Yeah, you nailed it. It's easy to ignore morbid Clark, but when I see Viggo being dragged out again and Gandalf, like all the OGs that would really that's gonna be rough.
When Aragorn gets sodomized by Gandalf's stick, that's kind of when you lose the franchise.
Blair to Blair.
He lights up his ass.
God. Blair to Blair for $5. I can't wait for the Q series, a show about his sex gadgets. Gonna be lit.
Is Q short for queer?
And it is now
in the new Bond movies.
It is now for sure. Oh man. I can I just ask a quick random question? I don't even remember what stream it was on, but I wanted to super chat it. I was about to ask it I wanted to ask it so bad. I was about to super chat. Who do you think is a worse casting choice? Daniel Craig as Bond or Brie Larson as Captain Marvel?
Ooh, no, Brie Larson for sure, because Daniel Craig had Casino Royale and that movie fucking rules.
That would probably be my logic, but I'm curious to see what everyone thinks in terms of the long-term decision.
Well, Brie Larson can act, right? And it's hard to say how much of how much of it is a casting mistake when the character is just written to be insufferable.
Yeah.
And how much of it is a good actor given a terrible role who then admittedly did not help herself whenever she opened her mouth. Whereas with Daniel Craig, I have never particularly rated that guy as an actor. He hated the role, and the role, to be fair, was also quite shit. So I don't know. Reflexively, I want to say Brie Larson just because, obviously, but I don't know that it's that big a difference.
That's why I brought it up. I think it's actually an interesting comparison. A lot of people can have different perspectives on it in terms of
imagine Brie Larson in the classic Marvel outfit, the black one, the Thunderbolt.
Oh, right on.
The red sash, yeah. If you had it like that and she was actually likable, I could see Brie Larson actually have been a good Captain Marvel. Whereas I don't see Casino Royale's good, but I don't see Daniel Craig being as you said, much range. He's just a miserable bastard.
I remember watching it with my mom for the first time, and we're enjoying it. The action is great and all, and my mom is she's watched Doctor Who, all the Bonds, she really knows her stuff. And I remember her calling, even in Casino Royale, that he doesn't have it. He's missing that that suaveness with the ladies. He's missing the charisma of Bond. And I was just I didn't know enough about Bond at the time to know what she was talking about. But the woman nailed her prediction from Casino Royale and pretty much predicted his entire reign. The guy hated being Bond, and she kind of gets a sense of that from there.
He did snag Eva Green, though, and that chick is smoking.
Yeah, she's banging.
Yeah.
But he looks like a potato. He's not James Bond.
He looks. I'll give him this. He does look like he could beat your ass, though. Like he looks like he could fuck somebody up.
Not recently. Have you seen him recently?
No,
he's gone on the vegan diet recently, I think.
Yeah.
In Casino Royale, he could break a nose or two for sure. But that's the only thing I appreciate about him. He doesn't have all the other factors that you need to be Bond.
Drake Timbershaft for $5. Me. What do you think of Daniel Craig cast as Bond, Mr. Blanc? Benoit Blanc. It's just dumb.
Is that Knives Out?
Yeah, there's a quote.
Oh, that first film was shit.
The second one was shit too. Anything from Ryan Johnson.
I heard the second was worse. Yeah.
Has he got a third one now?
He's probably.
I think he's working on a third one, isn't he? I don't think it's out. Is it out? Maybe it's out. I haven't been paying attention. I don't think that one's out yet because that was the excuse he gave for not coming back and doing that Star Wars trilogy they've been threatening us with for many, many years. It's like,
trilogy.
Well, when Ryan Johnson finishes Knives Out, maybe he'll come back to do Star Wars. Fuck you. What are you working on here?
The guy's like cancer. You think he goes away, then he comes back worse than ever.
I can't believe his career is in a better state than JJ's. Like it's just between those two. I can't believe Ryan was the winner. Like he's such a round head, man.
I think J.J. Abrams is a hold on. Sorry. J.J. Abrams is a fucking hack, dude. That guy is the worst director and writer in history. He only has production credits because he's somehow like. If you want to talk about sleeping your way to the top, J.J. Abrams sucked so many dicks to get into a position where he could get producer credits, and people just assumed that he had talent of some sort. And he was like, lens flares?
Lens flares. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Everything you said, but you got to remember, we're talking about Roundhead, Ryan Johnson. Like, the man is a buffoon. He made one of the stupidest movies I've ever seen in my life.
Wait.
JJ at least had me interested with TFA.
Well,
I think
JJ's got Mission Impossible 3 under his belt, and that's like the best one.
Also, him and Damon Lindelof together, those are the real destroyers of worlds. But they had Lost to their name, and that was so massively popular. It's kind of in the way that so many modern like producers and writers and stuff come up from Buffy. Like Lost was the same thing, particularly JJ and Damon Lindelof. Everyone loved it, thought it was great. I don't know why. And it was just every problem that you see with anything they've done since is all in Lost. But that was the thing to watch for a time. So they thought, fuck it, give these guys everything. Mystery boxes forever.
He only had his hand in the first 4 episodes and like produced season 1, and then everything after that, he only gets a character creation credit.
It's lens flare and mystery boxes. The man knows how to get people excited and have like fun dialogue and exciting characters, but he doesn't know how to tell a story or end a story, and he just dips out. So that's why him getting dragged back to finish the Disney trilogy was hilarious. Like, you finally got to finish a story, JJ, you fuckhead. And what can he possibly do after Ryan Johnson's TLJ mess cut off all the threads and left him with nothing? Like, it's 2 guys fighting over Star Wars.
We always had the same thing though. With who's it, Dan and Dave from Game of Thrones? Like, they were almost going to be the next JJ because
where are they?
Well, that's the thing. They made this terrible mistake in continuing to do Game of Thrones after announcing all of the deals they've been signed up for. And then, of course, Game of Thrones went to shit. And all the people who said, hey, come make Star Wars for us, suddenly said, you know what? We're going to go in a different direction. But thank you anyway for your time.
So they rushed Game of Thrones to be able to rush and get all their other new deals, but then they screwed up Game of Thrones so badly that their deals got cut off, and now they're just stuck. No one's seen those guys in years.
Well, they did 3 Body Problem, didn't they? Yeah.
Which was awful.
Yeah, it's not great.
Stupid on every level. It had Sam from Game of Thrones in it, and the only fun part was when he got knifed to death. Oh, it was dumb on every level. Like, the whole point is like an alien, a communist woman talks to an alien, and the alien goes, "Listen, I'm a good alien, but if you contact us again, the bad aliens are gonna find out and they're gonna kill every single human." And so she contacts them again, and the guy goes, "Why'd you do it?" And she goes, "Because they're here to help us." And I'm like, "You're a fucking moron."
Oh my god, tired of stupid people in sci-fi.
Well, the problem is they made the aliens overpowered, so the only way the humans can win is if they're retarded.
Yeah, the writers, they put themselves in that situation where they have no way of getting out of it, and you need either the creature or the cast to be completely retarded, and it drives me nuts. It should not be your goal for sci-fi or horror. You should be working your ass off to get the rules down for those genres specifically. I just don't understand the thought process behind that.
I think the 3-body problem was a flop as well. So I think they might get a second season. I'm not even sure if they are, but I think just like J.J. Abrams, they've been kind of outcasts. But it is weird for J.J. Abrams because he was given because his wife started Me Too, and who was the one before Zaslav got in? The woman in Warner Brothers. Anyway, they got her in, and for that he was given $500 million for a contract, and he wasn't even exclusive to Warner Brothers. But like, he hasn't made anything since with it.
Yeah, he's just been sitting on it. I don't know what his plan is, and strange. I don't know why they would take such a big risk on a guy like that with his reputation being.
Well, that was just a bribe. That was thanks to Me Too in him, and then Zaslav came in and went, "All right, get out."
That's such a power thing to have, though, isn't it? So you give my husband a job. No, I don't really think I will. Are you sure you want to say no? Because I have friends who've been sexually assaulted at your company, allegedly.
Isn't that similar to The Rock and Henry Cavill? How The Rock's wife is their manager, so he gets most of the good opportunities.
The Rock's ex-wife. So The Rock's ex-wife gives The Rock all the best roles, and then Henry Cavill gets the leftovers.
It's a shame. I respect The Rock, but like the last decade of his career has just been like.
I don't respect him. He's ruining WWE right now.
He's got a contract. What is it? He can't lose a fight in his movies.
His ego is insane. Like, he really, if you've known him since the 90s and you add it all with this, I could see him having all sorts of stipulations in his contract to protect him, and just he has to be the macho man in every situation.
Isn't he doing some like serious movie next though?
Martin Scorsese.
That's the one. Yeah. So Martin Scorsese and The Rock, that's an interesting match already. I believe the premise is it's set on Hawaii and exploring like crime cartels on Hawaii or something.
Nah. Triple H came back and he's running the show now, Utensil. It's gotten better. But The Rock is back and he's fucking ruining it right now.
Why is he? What are you doing? Just let the new bloods go on. Have your time.
I agree. Yeah. He came back last week and dropped the weirdest fucking promo I've ever heard in my life. It was like the most bipolar thing. He was going from like heel to babyface and in the exact same promo. He was clearly just winging it and like doesn't take it very seriously. It's like, I know it's wrestling, guy, but what the fuck are you doing? Like,
well, he was one of the few people who could bring charisma to the entire sport, or the entire organization. And if he's just kind of like doing his greatest hits now, like a character of his own self. That's
it's fucking weird. Sorry, I took away that super chat. Hemorrhoid hurts for an ass, $2. Out after the cretinous Aquaman and just gets worse.
Wait, we're saying Brave New World was worse than that last Aquaman movie?
That movie was pretty bad.
That movie is. I don't know if I've seen a worse movie in my life.
The Last Jedi.
Damn,
dude, he finishes off Jedi, the DCU by eating a cockroach.
I forgot about that.
Man,
dumb as fuck.
Yeah. Doesn't he also have like an "I am Iron Man" line at the end as well? Which is like, you realize you're in the wrong franchise for that, right?
The wrong universe.
Drake Timbershaft for $10. Anthony Mackie replaced Joel Kinnaman in Altered Carbon as well. Seems every time Mackie replaces a beloved actor, he's saddled with bad writers and the IP tanks. They're his go-to when they need, or he is their go-to when they need a replacement guy, I guess.
Yeah, he's serviceable, isn't he? We need like just a competent black actor to come in to replace someone. He's
Forrest Whitaker. Forrest Whitaker, Anthony Mackie. That was the good
Idris Elba, man. Come on.
And Idris throw him in there. I think he's super underrated. He's talented.
Yeah. They're gonna try and clone Idris Elba because he's what, 50 odd?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. He's one of those actors that can just really captivate you with the scene. Like the scene. Did you guys see the Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
The scene with him arguing with his daughter. I was like, you've got my full attention here. This is so good. When he's behind he's in jail. And he's arguing with his teenage daughter, and I'm just like, this is fantastic back and forth. I love an actor that can just captivate the entire scene, just take over the entire scene like that. And he has a lot of presence. He just hasn't found that right role yet. It's a shame.
Yeah, he is fantastic. Ruddy for $2 fake. Amandla has those tatas for a Bond girl, to be fair. Yeah, she does. Yep. Hemorrhoid hurts once again for 5 more. Me and the wife cannot watch anything anymore. Literally within the first 15 minutes, we doing a Reaper and railing. Netflix 0 Day with De Niro. What the fuck?
I haven't seen it.
No, but you told me De Niro was in it, so I'm automatically less interested. When was the last time he did a good thing?
Damn. Yeah.
Well, his wife, he has to pay her $1 million every year until she remarries. And she, in a divorce settlement, she's accustomed to a certain lifestyle. That's the excuse. So he has to pay her $1 million in the settlement until she remarries. There is no fucking way she's remarrying.
Never, ever.
God. Pay me, bitch, until I'm ready to find a new dick. Fuck you.
Well,
what?
McGregor,
oh my God.
Ewan McGregor,
That's
this is
terrible.
how stupid the divorce courts are. Ewan McGregor, his wife is entitled to future Star Wars earnings.
What?
What?
If he pops up in Obi-Wan season 2, she gets a slice.
Stand by your man, I guess. That's the price you pay.
Prenup, people.
She's in Star Wars, isn't she? Didn't he get her a job in Ahsoka? Isn't she the green?
The girl he's fucking was. So I think she was
Hera. One of the chicks in Ahsoka is his wife, isn't it?
Hera.
Hera, the green one, the alien with the big fucking tentacles on her head.
His daughter had a cameo in Kenobi as well, so he's getting the whole crew on board.
Yeah, she was the little meth dealer. She was trying to sell him
she was a drug dealer.
She was a drug dealer. He got drugs from his daughter.
Trying to sell my dad drugs. Yeah, great one. Yeah, like you said, this is why prenups are way more important.
M8566 for $5. Hey Brooks, how much do clothes cost in the Matrix?
That's it, bitch. Don't make me.
Okay, look at that! Oh shit!
Oh, Morpheus on your ass. No, this is a gift. I like the jacket.
It's a kick-ass jacket.
Thank you, sir.
It's a good one. I'm wearing a fucking jacket too.
Yeah, you and Sammy made me jealous last week. I look like shit. I'm breaking out the leather jacket this week.
I know. I think just like to look good on screen. That's what it's for. Beach Wind for $2.99. Gotta say, Craig was great in Layer Cake. I remember that movie.
That's what got him Bond.
Liking that one. Villa Idiots for $2. Who exactly are the Avengers now? Well, I guess you can count Anthony Mackie.
In Shang-Chi, they seem to have an idea of who was on it, but now it's just a coin flip. I really have no idea.
Yeah, that was what's so confusing. It's like, what is continuity and what is out of canon? Like, what fucking matters? What doesn't? Because I thought we knew in Shang-Chi that Captain Marvel was part of the Avengers. Hulk was still part of the Avengers. Shang-Chi is going to be part of the Avengers, but I guess not.
No,
or maybe yes, but I don't think they know, because isn't it? We've got the Thunderbolts, which comes out in a couple of months, and then we've got Fantastic Four, and I think that's it until the next Avengers movie comes out. So they're going to have to make their minds up pretty quickly. And do you bring back a lot of the legacy cast who have just been doing their own thing for 5 years at this point, or are we going to try and say, well, the first Avengers movie, Doomsday, is that the one? Then maybe that will be the one that tries to reestablish who the team is, and then that's treated as like the first of the next step of whatever Phase 6 is going to be, although technically Fantastic Four is the first Phase 6 movie. Like, is that going to be used as a complete reset for them, or are they going to bring Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange? No, he's not in it, but they might bring Captain Marvel back, I think. I don't know, fuck knows.
Yeah, I think they're taking notes on all of that to be able to make the final decision and have an idea of what they're going to do. Because like you were mentioning earlier, you're supposed to watch the shows for continuity, but a lot of the times it's pointless. Like, I don't think I think if you watch Multiverse of Madness having not seen WandaVision, it might make more sense. You'll be even more confused if you've seen the show that's supposed to be setting it up. Same with Secret Invasion, the continuity wasn't there for the Marvels. And Captain Falcon show, like I feel like I didn't even need to watch that to understand Captain America 4, other than who's Isaiah. And I could have had that filled in for me. It's kind of pointless. The continuity is a true joke at this point, and that's what the entire franchise was built off of. So I don't know what their goals or the plans are. It's a mess.
I'm pretty sure there's a non-zero chance that at the end of the Thunderbolts, they'll be like, "Oh, we're the Avengers," and that's why there's the asterisk at the end of the title.
It could be they could be like the Dark Avengers or whatever,
and then they'll just bring them in as the team, and they'll add like maybe
So
2 or 3 people. I think they're all going to die though.
The real Avengers, the Dark Avengers, and the Kid Avengers. Like they're going to
Yeah,
do.
because Kamala Khan is supposed to be outforming the Young Avengers, but the only ones of those we've got her, we've got Kate Bishop, we've got Riri Williams, and I think that's it.
Why'd you say that name?
There's, I honestly think there was a plan for them to do that. I think now they've scrapped all of it, and they're just going to do X-Men. We'll see the Avengers like once every 4 years, and it'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that, and it'll just be all X-Men movies and Fantastic Four movies.
Maybe, but I mean, they've got 2 Avengers movies coming out in the next 2 years because like there's Doomsday and Secret.
Just to scrap it,
Wars,
though. I think it's just to scrap the whole idea of the Avengers. They'll kill them off. They'll be like, look, a new universe.
Yeah,
there's a Wolverine.
I know that's what's incredible about it.
Reset in.
Yeah, they're formulating the Avengers just to completely reset and get rid of that team immediately after 2027 because Secret Wars resets everything. That's the point of Secret Wars. So nothing is going to be the same.
I hope so.
So like it basically the Secret Wars they're going to be adapting is the 2015 one, and it just pulls all of their Marvel's favorite parts from their varying universes and just rolls it into one. So like Miles Morales was from
Infinite Earths.
Yeah, Miles Morales was from the Ultimate Marvel universe, but they wanted it to end that one, so they just pulled him into the mainline Marvel universe with Secret Wars, like for example. So they'll do shit like that.
Oh, but that makes it worse because that's bringing more stuff into the current universe. We need to be getting rid of stuff. We don't need to be adding more.
I know, but it's going to be like this is your Cap now, and this is your Iron Man now. Aren't you glad that you have Tony back?
It's just I feel like I have to reference this every single time, but like just Tony's charisma and Cap's indomitable spirit. Those are very, very simply were 2 of the best things about the MCU. They're 2 arcs, and understanding those 2, if they don't understand how like what made it work at the very, very, very beginning, then how are they expected to continue it at this point? When they like the fact that they can go from the Winter Soldier scene where one of the most famous fights is just a knife fight with Bucky and Cap, and then think that we want to see like purple Wakandan goo all over Falcon while he's fighting a Hulk, like the ultimate test. It's so out of touch with what actually made this work, and it's frustrating me that they can't even like take a step back and really go back to basics, because I don't think a reset or resetting the universe and continuity, that doesn't matter if their thought process and their philosophy is this messed up. They don't know what made this work in the first place, so how could they ever be in charge of it? I don't even know.
Well, they'll do a half reset where they'll reset the characters. We'll get a new Iron Man, a new Thor, but then we'll also get characters that we still have. So it'll be a sort of reset, which is the worst type.
Yeah. Yep, it'll be a mix because
sorry. I'm going to play producer right now, which I have not done yet on this show. That's a perfect segue into us talking about something that might be good.
Oh, yeah.
It might be.
Yeah, it might be. It looks good.
It does look good.
Okay, if it's just TLJ had a good trailer. TLJ had a good trailer. Don't ever forget. We can't let it's you can't tell how good the project is going to be based on that. Like it's 2 separate things. But at least those actors, like what's Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, I really do feel like they love those characters and they care about this. And they've waited and they ate so much crow with She-Hulk and Echo. I think they've taken all the bullshit that they're gonna take, and hopefully now this is a project that they would be on board with. So I'd like, this is the only thing I have mild fingers crossed for, but it's not because of the trailer.
Tatiana Maslany say, "Oh yeah, I'd totally be willing to come back as She-Hulk in the Daredevil show"?
No thanks.
Yes, of course. Same like Daisy wants to come back as Ray. Everyone's broke. Like, what are you gonna do?
What do you mean? I just saw Tatiana Maslany, or however the fuck you say her name, die in The Monkey over the weekend. I saw her have a...
spoilers, bro.
Was that the best thing in the film?
It's in the first 10 minutes. It's not much of a spoiler.
Did you have an erection?
Yeah, I was like, oh, good, she's dead. Well, I guess we'll move on, won't we?
But the good thing about this is that it does look like they are trying to entertain us. Like the original thing didn't even have Foggy or Karen. Was it named Karen?
Carrie and Foggy, yeah.
Yeah, didn't have them, and now they've brought them back. So I've heard it's got elements of the original script, so we'll see how it puts together, if it feels like a bit of a mess. But it looks like it's trying to do the right thing, and it actually entertain us.
The director did say some slightly concerning stuff, didn't he, about like he wants less conversations about what it means to be a superhero and more just, I don't know, fighting, I guess.
He essentially picked the most potent part of the entire series, the Punisher and Daredevil conversation on the rooftop, going over the philosophy of being a superhero and comparing their different thought processes, and said he doesn't want any more of that. Like, it's arguably the best superhero scene in existence, like top 5, period.
Very good.
In terms of a scene. If we're talking about scenes that like non-action scenes exclusively, that has to be top 3, top 5. It's so effective, so well acted, has so much to say.
He hated that.
He hated it. And the fact that he wants less of that gives me no hope for this show. If all you care about is superheroes punching each other, then fuck out of here.
Oh, I retract everything I said then.
Yeah, there we go. And if you remember, Foggy, we've seen this with many superheroes, like the reveal of like, oh, you're a superhero or this, whatever, the mask off moment. The best one I've ever seen was in Daredevil. They spend the whole episode recontextualizing their relationship. You motherfucker, you've been lying to me the entire time I've known you. Oh, this. And they took their time. Their relationship mattered. It was so effective. That's the only thing I can say about Daredevil. Effective. They won't do that.
That comment's an interesting point. For this show has to ignore Echo. It has to ignore Hawkeye. It has to ignore She-Hulk. There are 3 shows you have to not watch.
But they've been doing that anyway. Multiverse of Madness ignores WandaVision. It ignores they ignore all this shit anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm done with thinking I need to rewatch. Like, if there's a Hawkeye movie, there's no way I'm watching the show. It's gonna have nothing to do with
I wouldn't necessarily. Yeah, that is true. But it's probably the only Marvel show I wouldn't necessarily mind rewatching. I like Hawkeye. I think I said when it came out, it'll be really surprising if this turns out to be the best of the Marvel shows. And actually, it probably is the best of the Marvel shows. So I wouldn't mind rewatching that one. I was just trying to think what about Echo is even worth ignoring. Never mind continue. Like, I guess it would be difficult to have magic, like Native American witch, lesbian, intergenerational family plot dynamic interfering with a Daredevil story. That might be tricky.
It's Kingpin for sure. Like, literally, she made him cry in like his whole past. Yeah,
but they have to account for that because he's supposed to be running for mayor of New York, isn't he? That's what happened at the end of the Echo show. He's running for mayor.
No, that didn't happen. Echo literally touched his brain. No.
It's the scene after. It's the scene. So it's like basically like the post-credit scene. He's on his private jet and he's watching the TV, and the news is like, there's a vacancy for the New York mayor, and we're waiting for a populist candidate to emerge. And he looks up and he's like,
Even that doesn't fit with the previous scene, because you see him get in the car all panicked after she mind fucks him, and then the next scene is that. So what's the gap in between that? How do you go from getting mind fucked from Echo to going and like getting into politics?
So the power of the ancestors went to him. Go be president of fucking mayor of New York.
Like, what did you do? What did you do? How do you go from panicking about your childhood to like, just let me just go hop into this? It's so stupid.
But it again, it's the end of the day. It's just you've got to ignore 3 shows because he got shot in the fucking head in the Hawkeye, resurrects for Echo.
Yeah, shot him in the eye.
And then gets some fucking weird therapy session from her ancestors, becomes mayor, and fucking Daredevil had to do the walk of shame.
I'd completely forgotten he was shot in the head, but you're right, because then when he turns up in Echo and he's like, "Oh, I've got a bandage because my eye was minorly scratched," like, fuck off.
They just wrapped it up. It's so lame. You got shot like 2 feet away. You should be dead. They just
it's
said,
okay. My brain stopped the bullet.
My kingpin brain. It's so stupid.
Oh my god. But if you had to guess, do you think it's going to be good, mediocre, shit?
It's going to be mediocre with moments of greatness smeared by shit. It's going to be frustrating.
It's like, is it going to be good, mediocre, or shit? Yes.
Yes.
All of them.
That's probably right.
I don't, because I have to. I've never actually watched the Netflix one. I have to watch all of it basically from beginning to end before this comes out.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I just never got around to it because it was on Netflix, and I think I didn't have Netflix at the time and didn't intersect, so like I didn't need to watch it. Yeah, because I had to do that for my job.
Fuck your job. It's Daredevil. It's like,
but it's like it doesn't intersect. It ended before I think I started doing much stuff on YouTube, and it didn't intersect, so I didn't need to learn what happened in it. I've kept hearing it was really good, so now I have to watch all of it from beginning to end, which is going to make it extra disappointing if this doesn't turn out to be good, because that's going to be like, I mean, how many hours of show have I got to catch up on?
It's a different category. It's a different category from every other Marvel show you've ever seen. The only ones that I can say is comparable in terms of taking it seriously all the way through would be maybe Penguin. If I had to pick, it'd be Penguin and Daredevil season 1. Those are probably the 2 best superhero shows I've ever seen in terms of, and for me, it has to work for people who don't care about superheroes. Like, you have no idea who these people are. You're just watching a show. Like, my mom liked Penguin. You know, that type of thing it means a lot to me. It's got to work as a show first.
It's very independent, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The season 3 is disappointing, so you might not be too angry when this one comes out and shit.
Season 3, it's still better than any of the MCU shows. Like, it's still like season 1 is fantastic. Season 2 is really good with a little kind of weirdness in between. Foot Clan soldiers. I never got around to season 3, but from what I've heard, it's still significantly better than anything the MCU. Like, it's miles difference in quality.
No, it isn't.
Season 3, season 2 has the Punisher reveal and the conversation. There's no way that.
Well, season 3 has a good prison scene with the Punisher. That's boss.
Oh, yeah,
that's season 2. That was season 2. Yeah,
that is season 2.
Watched it. So good.
Okay. That is.
Never mind. I was right.
Season 3, unless there's a clip.
Oh, was it? Yeah, season 3 is worse.
You go into season 2 knowing Punisher is in it. Yet the reveal that they do for him is so good that you almost forget. It's like, oh yeah, shit, he's in this show. It's like it's set up so well.
Spoil all the show for Platoon. Fuck it.
Sorry, dude. Oh yeah, I totally forget.
No, it's my
it has to happen sooner or later. I know the basic beats.
Yeah.
And then he dies.
Rocking around in a toque, fucking people up was just awesome to me. Just slap on a toque. Who cares?
Really quick. Severance is the best show that's ever existed, ever. Hands
Severance
down.
is very good. We just started watching it a couple of days ago. It's quite good.
There's nothing on earth that compares to that show. It's like not even a TV show. It's like watching a Van Gogh being painted in real life. It's so good.
Is that on Apple?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Apple's the most weirdest streaming service ever because it's got these super high profile shows with these big actors, and most of them aren't even watched.
Yep, they're just prestige awards seeking excellence.
I think Severance is like one of the first ones to really cut through into any kind of mainstream audience. Because I've heard loads of people talk about Severance. Regardless
what about Ted Lasso?
Ted Lasso, yeah, that would be another one. And like Silo almost did it, and then it completely season 2. So screw that show.
Oh, season 2. I was gonna watch it, but I was waiting for season 2.
Oh dear, no. Yeah. It's quite a fall off, a massive cliff in terms of quality. But no, I started watching Severance, also last week, and I've liked what I've seen of it so far, but I could only second monitor it at the time, so I think I need to devote it some more actual attention. But is season 2 finished yet, or is it still running?
Still going, halfway through, and it's like, I'm not even joking, the most insane season of TV I've ever seen. Every episode feels like a season finale. It's bonkers.
Damn. Do you think it's going to crash out? Like someone in the comments said it's going to crash out like Lost.
No. They know exactly where they're going and what they're saying. And There's a lot of behind the scenes lore and things you can watch. They release like little books that extend on the universe. I've read them all because I'm way too into this, and they know exactly where they're heading, and their themes are very well laid out, and they're a little subtle, but it's there.
Isn't Ben Stiller the director for most of these episodes as well?
He's the creator of the show. Yeah.
Very surprised to see that, because like I wouldn't have put, like, I don't know much about the guy except that I don't like any of the movies he's been in. So I was quite with the exception, obvious exception.
I love
right?
Ben Stiller, man. He's so
like
funny.
talking about Andor in the context of Disney Star Wars.
Like
it's good and it's an
Gilmore?
exception, so I put it out. The point I'm trying to make is I wouldn't have expected Ben Stiller to be capable of directing something which looks like it's that genuine high quality, not just in terms of the writing, but in terms of like everything about it. The visuals are incredibly distinctive.
Well, you got to consider his dad was Jerry Stiller. He was in Seinfeld, so he's been around the industry probably his whole life. Like he's probably one of those people that has a lot of technical ability and passion for this that you wouldn't expect based on like his acting. But he's probably been around this since he was a little kid. His father was so hilarious.
He did The Cable Guy. That was a banger.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Cable Guy, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey got a lot of shit for that movie. A lot of people.
That was a great movie, actually. Underrated.
I cried in the theater when I was like 8 in that movie because I thought Jim Carrey died in real life. Funny story.
Just broke his back.
I'm going to be a psycho right now and make chat hate me even more. Lost is perfect. There is no loose threads in Lost. Dude, I know you think that. I'm not joking. I've watched the show 5 times all the way through.
One of the only shows I've ever
times.
It's one of the only shows that just threw in the towel. Like, you guys have no idea what you're doing.
Even the people who write it say that they dropped shit. Like, the people who made the show said, we were just making it up as we went along by the end.
There's
Every
only one
episode was
thread.
like 50 new questions.
There's only one thread in the whole show that is dropped, and it's because there was behind the scenes drama and they cut out whole characters. So I kind of give them a pass. But
what happened with the bear?
The bear is from the Dharma Initiative. They were doing experiments on polar bears on the other island. I can answer everything.
Polar bears on the other island. It's a tropical island.
Oh, dude.
So what happened to the fat guy? Wasn't the fat guy losing weight? What was the answer for that?
No. The fat guy losing weight, he finds food and he's eating the food. He drops actually a good amount of weight in season 1. But they like forecast the final season. Like the themes of the final season are in the first 3 episodes. And if you watch it like closely enough, they know exactly where they're going. They do a lot of bullshit in the middle. It's almost like anime where there's a lot of filler. But if you actually watch that show in like more detail than it probably deserves to be watched, they do answer almost every large question that you want answered. And they're not dead. They're not.
Did you like it more than Captain America 4? Which one's better?
Oh, dude, yeah, Lost for sure.
Just check it.
Wait, I'm sure it's because it's been so long. There's the massive plot line with the numbers, right? The lottery numbers, and the lottery numbers are also the numbers on the hatch, and they recur frequently throughout the island.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying that the writers themselves said, "Yeah, we just decided numbers." Like it's not actually.
They explain it in the show.
Do they?
All the people on the island end up being candidates to like take over for the position of Jesus or God or whatever the person is, and they're numbered in like a cave. They have like their names written down and numbers beside, and then 4, 8, 12, 15, 16, 23, 42 are all the people that are left to be candidates.
No, what they do
got
is
it all.
You are the only person I've seen defend this show ever.
Dude, this show is I have such a soft spot for Lost just because it's the last show that bridges network television to streaming. And I think if Lost was a streaming show, it would have been much more popular. But the fact that the first few seasons have like 24 episodes and there's so much filler, it's just this weird middle ground, and it bridges 2 parts of existence that I really enjoy looking at in that perspective. Because things have changed so much since network TV, and you watch this show change from 24 episodes to 16 to like 12. It's interesting.
Maybe I'll rewatch it one day.
You should.
Jedi and Xander were 6 ever. I didn't agree with him. What do you mean? I completely disagreed.
Because we're black. Don't worry.
just punishing the guy.
M8566 for $5. Hey Ploots, when can we expect your mandatory Gollum playthrough? And congrats on becoming a massive.
Thank you, and probably Wednesday. I have to do Gollum. it's just a case of just sort of finding some. I do not have enough hours in my day for shit, but I will cram it in. And Wednesday's looking like the day to cram it in for the first stream. I have to finish it, so it might be a weekly Wednesday thing until I either kill myself because it's Gollum or somehow complete the game first.
JH for $5. Can we get some love for Timothy Dalton's Bond? Wish we had gotten the third movie. No love?
No.
Not a Bond fan. No.
No love from anybody. Stream went fucking radio silent.
I'll give him love for Hot Fuzz. His character is phenomenal. I just don't know him as Bond.
He was, because I'm trying to think of, I think I've seen him as Bond. I don't remember which films he is Bond in, and I remember nothing about the films. I remember him saying stuff like he wanted it to be a slightly more mature take on the character, which is less sort of dismissive of women, I think was one of the things he wanted to happen. And he played it as more of a darker and a more sinister, but also in a sense more noble version of the character, which is an interesting take. It's kind of like a more intelligent version of what Daniel Craig tried to do. And he has great screen presence. I like him in other stuff I've seen him in. Great in Hot Fuzz, obviously. So love for Timothy Dalton, even if I can't remember the specifics of the movies he's in.
Beach Wind for $2.99. The DCEU ended the same way the MCU began. Is just...
I can't remember how the DCU ended.
With a whimper, I would say, actually. But
was the Flash?
Yeah, Aquaman 2 was the way it ended. Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah.
What a piece of shit that movie was.
Oh god.
M8566 for $2. Read supers from before the stream started, please. I got you, buddy. I got it.
I don't know where those are. Those are on you, bud.
There's only one more left from before the stream started. TGV Monster for $4.99. Hi everyone, happy Monday. It's my Friday. How does it feel knowing the same woman who made Rings of Power has Bond now? That RLM meme is more honest than ever now.
Yeah, it doesn't fill me with confidence for Bond, I have to say. Yeah.
Was Bond ever good? Am I that guy right now? Was it good?
I like Lost, dude.
No, because I only liked Bond.
Legacy.
I only liked Bond because of Casino Royale. I didn't like Bond before that.
You didn't play GoldenEye on N64, or you didn't Pierce
no.
Brosnan?
I love GoldenEye.
The game was fine.
The books are decent, but the movies, like, have the movies ever really been that good? Maybe in the 70s.
Some of them have been. Some of them have been really crap, and some of them have been that sort of so enjoyably cheesy that it's fun to laugh at and not necessarily treat seriously. The one example I will always go to for that is the one, I can't remember which movie it is. It's when Roger Moore is Bond. It starts like he's up shagging some woman in a ski lodge, and he gets a call, and she says, "But James, I need you." And he says, "So does England." And then he skis down the slope, and he jumps off a cliff, and he opens a parachute that is the Union Jack. And it's like, that's a movie. That's a great start to a film. I want to see more of this.
It was carried by the character, and like, you know, all the campy fun aspects of it, the gadgets. It had its thing. It definitely wouldn't be as iconic if it wasn't good at one point.
And they got rid of all the good stuff for the Craig movies. Like, the things that make Bond fun are kind of the cheesy stuff. It's like the older guys. It's like a dad who's 45. It's his power fantasy. So it's usually a slightly older actor. He's classy, and he has all these amazingly cool gadgets, and all of his jokes are kind of cheesy and corny. But he's also great, and he gets all of the women. And yeah, there's no gear porn. There's no funny gadgets either. Q is a massive downgrade. There's very little humor, which Bond films always had quite a lot of. And there's none of the charm and the sophistication, which obviously gets people going as well. So it's, they tried to make Bond born is usually the criticism that's made, and that criticism is correct. Yeah,
it's true. Like the Q taking the sandwich, like, that's my lunch. Like, that's such a good joke. It's just so well constructed, because you just assume everything is a gadget at this point with Bond. And that whole dynamic, it's like, even for example, I think my personal favorite scene in Black Panther, the first one, was T'Challa and his sister going through and seeing the gear, because it reminded me of Q. It was like a Black Bond scene. I'm like, this is kind of cool. The rest of the movie sucks, but seeing that element of Bond works in other things, even in Black Panther, and removing it from Bond, stupid idea.
Yep, and I didn't like Bond.
Spies have JB for the initials. James Bond, Jason Bourne, Jack Bauer.
No shit. Yeah,
I didn't notice that. I didn't like James Bond until Casino Royale, and then I didn't like James Bond after Casino Royale.
I was so excited for Quantum of Solace, and I still don't know what happened in that fucking movie. I kind of just gave up on the entire franchise after that.
Someone in chat has just called it heterosexual camp, which is probably the best description I've heard of James Bond. Yeah, it's hetero camp.
Casino Royale had Eva Green, baby. Motherfucker. Blaze Stone for a California 10. Daredevil season 1. HQ broke back Batman. Jessica Jones season 1. Superpowered film noir. Luke Cage season 1. The Hood Captain America. And Iron Fist season 1. Meh. Superpowered Batman. Hard to recommend the first 3 to different degrees. I actually completely agree with that.
I've heard those 2 are right. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I only recommend the first half of season 1 of Luke Cage. The second half goes right off the fucking rails, and it's dog shit. But
the guy that plays Luke Cage cannot carry a show.
No,
Mahershala Ali
season 1.
Yeah,
Mahershala Ali was
right there.
Was that a dude? Yeah, I remember he was the only thing when it got me through the episode. He was way better than the lead.
No. That's Mahershala Ali was supposed to play Blade.
He was supposed to.
Michael something.
No, but Mahershala Ali plays Cottonmouth in Luke Cage season 1 for the first half of the season,
right.
And that's
he was the best part of it.
Yeah,
I forgot they recast him. Yeah,
same thing I was saying about Idris Elba. Of like he can really, as soon as he speaks, I'm just like he just takes control of the entire scene. He's got a lot of presence to him.
But Jessica Jones season 1 and Daredevil. What's that?
Didn't Cottonmouth get replaced by his sister?
Yeah, she kills him. The only way Mahershala Ali said he would take that role, and this is right from the word of the writer because he came on BSUP, the writer of Luke Cage did. He came on BSUP and detailed this, was the only way Mahershala Ali took that role was if he would die in season. So
why?
He just didn't want to. He wanted to make sure he wasn't going to be pigeonholed.
Isn't that kind of an insult? You go, I've got this character for you. He reads it and goes, I'll play him if you kill him.
Harrison Ford with Han Solo.
Like Han Solo.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how do you hate Han Solo? What the hell? I don't get that.
Man, if my entire 60-year career people just went, hey, Han Solo, I'd be like, dude, kill me.
Yeah, I would maybe. But then this is a guy who now plays Red Hulk. So are we ready to trust his taste when it comes to his own movies?
Man, he's old. He's trying to leave his kids some money. He probably spent most of it on, frivolous Hollywood things.
He did a Jeep commercial for the Super Bowl.
It should be an honor, though. You think Bryan Cranston's ever going to get tired of being called Walt? You know what I mean? Like, it's just you've achieved something so incredible in terms of pop culture where you are associated with this character for life.
I think
it'd be an honor to me. I would
imagine being revered. What a fucking burden.
But they're humans, right? And I think they see themselves rightfully or not rightfully as artists. So to be only recognized for one particular piece of art that you made for the rest of your life when you have a whole career after that, and I would argue Harrison Ford had a pretty successful, better career post playing Han Solo in Star Wars. I'd rather Indiana Jones, at least. Like, those movies are better in my opinion.
That's like the actor who plays Homelander. He kind of gets pissed off with like all the comments of him being just like the characters. Like, I'm not a sociopathic maniac, you asshole. It's like I'm just playing a character. It's just
that's the word I was
would get old.
Say.
That would get old for sure.
Cocaine.
Look, last topic. We did it.
Oh, that was the last topic, Mr. Yeah. Well, we actually started with that while you were away too.
Oh, okay.
We came back around.
Apologies. All I got to say on this is I want Idris Elba. I know it's not going to happen. They're probably going to do Henry Cavill because that's who Twitter wants right now.
Yeah,
which makes me kind of sad.
That was going to be my question, actually. If not Henry Cavill, who would you like to see? So Idris Elba's an interesting shout. Anybody else comes to mind who could play the character?
Lawrence Fishburne.
Why?
Fuck out of here. What the hell are you doing?
Because I'm trying to destroy the franchise. What do you mean?
I wouldn't mind Joel Edgerton. I don't know if you like the kid from
Kingsman.
Yeah, he did that really terrible movie about. It was pretty much Die Hard, like the new Die Hard. They just released it a few months ago.
Airport.
Yeah, and he can carry a campy-ish style action movie, I think, pretty well.
He looks about 12.
Yeah, but he could get some ass.
Yeah, we go. You don't want him to say Martini, shaken, not stirred, and he goes, "Are you old? I'm gonna need to see some ID."
Old enough.
Bond getting carded. I don't ever want to see that. Yeah, you're right.
He pulls out his driver license and goes,
like,
and he has to put on like a deep voice.
Shaken, not stirred. Like I don't ever want to fucking see that shit. Man.
Martini, shaken, not stirred.
You know the problem is Idris Elba. I genuinely think he could probably do a good job as Bond, but like they would make it the Black Bond. That would be more important than the actual story, the character.
Yeah,
and, like I'm not down for that.
Just Tom Hardy and just not let it be a thing. That would be.
They can't do that. They can't do that. They have to. And the examples you need is Falcon and Fury. Them being black was never a factor, but then when they get their own shows, it's the most important thing about them. Yeah. Black Falcon. It's I hate it. It's so annoying.
I don't like Aaron Taylor Johnson very much. I just find him to be
same.
I find him to be bland.
Yeah, he doesn't have the suaveness that Bond requires.
Tom Hardy wouldn't be bad either.
Tom Hardy would be great.
Stupid voice.
He's a bit too small, don't you think?
Oh, James Bond.
He's a bit too gruff and a bit too stock. Like,
but he can do like a really suave posh accent. Because weirdly enough, is it Star Trek Insurrection? Is that when he plays the young clone of Picard? That he plays it as like, I don't remember anything else about that movie for some reason except that he sounds really posh and like James Bond could sound.
Oh fuck.
It's funny. Did you see that article where the actor Yatfi Quoto, I can never say his name, the black dude in Alien who played Parker, he was basically commenting on how James Bond should be white. Stop stealing white people's characters. There's pens and keyboards that you can pick up to create your own characters. Stop stealing. Like,
I really fucking base is that?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Like, create your own fucking characters. It's so annoying to me.
Does James Bond have to be white though?
He needs to be a Brit. I don't think he needs to be white.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think okay, 100% Brit, but I still think in the way we are nowadays, if we make a black Bond under any circumstances, it's going to be overshadowed with all that fucking diversity bullshit rather than just telling the story. So I don't want it just for that. Just give me a good Bond.
It's tricky because I think they'd almost have to lean into the gritty nature. Like they'd have to do more Craig-style Bond films if they had a black James Bond. I think they would want to do that, and I don't know that they would be able to do it in any different way. Because if you're going to lean back more into the suave part of Bond's character comes quite specifically from his upbringing, which is in Scotland. If you know anything about Scotland, it's like there's like 2 black people there, and none of them come from like aristocratic backgrounds. Bond is like his class background is kind of important to the earlier versions of his character. You could do a suave black James Bond. I'm just trying to find what in his backstory you would anchor it.
Yeah, I feel like whether they would try. It would just be stunt casting if you were to do it, because you need to pick someone who's right for the role. Idris Elba would be right for the role like 10 years ago. I think he's too old now. But other than that, like I can't think of anyone.
I'd say he has to be white because it's just part of his character, and not that there's a written reason. It's kind of like Superman's always white and Blade's always black.
Yeah,
there's nothing about Blade being black in his actual character, but Blade being a white guy is stupid.
Yeah, that'd be fucking weird.
Don't ever want to see a white Blade. Get that out of my head. Like it's like and like just like Platoon said, Blade's got much more of like a hood mentality and like in terms of his delivery and his personality, and like that all kind of works with a black dude. Wesley Snipes just makes that character like a lot of his lines would not work unless it's Wesley Snipes. You have to have that special connection there.
Could you imagine a white guy saying like, some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill?
Yeah, career's done. You're done. They would just stop filming right there. Like, we can't release this. It's just, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna defend. I'm just gonna defend Amazon really quick. I really like Reacher, and that's an Amazon show. Not that it's in the vein of James Bond, but they do certain shows that I've watched that are pretty well done. Not that they'll do that with 007 because they'll have way too many hands in the pot, but it's possible. Like, it's not impossible.
Well, there's a range. They've got on one hand Reacher and Turner List, and on the other they got The Boys.
And Rings of
Power. So it's a you know what I mean? It's a big gamble.
Rings of Power is Amazon, man. And
Rings of Power.
That's crazy.
So that's quite a range. Plus, the 007 is such a big franchise. Every person, every producer has got to tamper with it.
Yeah.
Whereas Reacher wasn't a big franchise. Whereas Rings of Power is. And which one's good, which one's bad.
Yeah, I think it's part of the reason Andor ended up good, because they didn't have all this tampering. They're like, this is a tiny thing. You can actually go and do your thing. And then they wrote a proper story. Where when you have something like the Rings of Power, there's going to be so much, like, so many producers messing around. It's just, you're not going to get a good product in the end.
Hasn't season 2 of Andor, a trailer came out today?
I think it did, because I've seen a bunch of people in chat say we should talk about it. I'm even not sure if I'm going to watch the trailer, because I tend to like to wait for stuff like that and just watch the show. I know the trailer is out, though.
I don't think I'll touch it. Andor is like one of the last hopes left for this franchise. It really is.
Well, it's got no future because he dies. Spoilers. But he gets blown up in 2017. He died.
I've said this before. I might have even been on this podcast, but I'll repeat it. I think that's not a lot of people go to that with Andor. What I like about Andor's character is I feel like he represents what I think the rebellion is supposed to be. That spirit is what could have created the rebellion, and I do like him for that. We don't need to have like the Andor saga. Him dying in Rogue One doesn't mean I can't enjoy his journey here.
No, that's
the other characters
fine.
around him.
The show itself almost seems to recognize it. The show uses him as quite a blank protagonist in order to explore so many of the characters around him, the world that's being built around him, the way the Empire functions, who sides with it, and for what reasons. It's not just this comic book evil organization. They're actually competent. People have reasons for signing up. It's like the only intelligent thing Star Wars has really done since Empire. But the argument that is pointless because he's going to die, well, okay, apply that to the prequels. Why do we need to watch the Star Wars prequels? Because Anakin becomes Vader and he dies. So what's the point? There's still interesting stuff you can do around it. And Andor Season 1 did that. Whether the ideal balance is if they inject maybe a little bit more action, slightly faster pace, or even just bundling it into a proper release order as opposed to weekly would make Season 2, I think, overcome a lot of the problems some people have with it. I don't really agree with those problems, but I acknowledge they exist. It's just there have been so many instances recently of just Season 2 of a really good thing is coming out. Oh fuck, it was Arcane.
Arcane,
no.
House of the Dragon, Squid Game, to varying degrees, but they were all drop in quality, which is
am I allowed to defend Arcane?
No.
Well, okay. Season 2, or you were allowed to try.
Let's hear it. Try. Fuck it. We're winging it today.
My defense on Twitter was basically the writers were told they had 5 seasons. They wrote a 5-season arc, and then they're like, JK, you got 2, wrap it up. So they stuffed the last 3 seasons into 1 season. It's just a mess. But
that's why it was
considering that, it's like, I see where it was going, and I'm sad we didn't get 5 seasons to play it out. But I'm not really mad at
it's believable. I mean, the problem is that the guy, Christian Link, who's like in charge of the writer's room, to its massive detriment, basically said, no, that's not true. It was always going to be 2 seasons. And the overall budget was for 5 seasons worth of League-related content, and only 2 of those were ever going to be Arcane. The guy just puts his foot in it every time he opens his mouth. He's fucking useless. The real problem is that the talented writers left during COVID for unknown reasons and never came back. And then they thought, we will just explode the scope of this story well beyond anything we have the capacity to deal with in a single season, drop in a bunch of teasers for spin-offs that hopefully no one is now interested in seeing, and that's great. It looks pretty, the songs are good, everyone will like it. Lots of shipping is great.
They literally said they didn't care about Vi. Like, how do you defend a show that literally just pushes one of their main characters to the side? And it's mind-boggling to me how she was just a passenger in Season 2, wandering around like an idiot, and none of the major payoffs for her that were built up perfectly in Season 1 were even touched on. Like, she literally never asked where the fuck Echo is when this is supposed to be like her little brother. Didn't ask once if he's alive. Everything with her and Jinx was completely ruined. And her stopping to eat Caitlyn's fucking ass instead of like checking on her sister who's trying to commit suicide is embarrassing. It completely ruined. Like, Vi and Caitlyn's relationship is supposed to mean something, but they were more concerned with just making them fuck. That's it. I hate Season 2.
I didn't love Season 2 for the people in chat. I didn't enjoy it as much as Season 1, but I try to see, the good in things. I know that's not where I'm supposed to do this, but here I am.
Not with this one. This one, like this is a tough one. This is a tough. Like for example, Squid Game season 2 mixed bag. House of the Dragon season 2 mixed bag. Season 2 Arcane is a fucking disgrace. Absolute disaster.
Yeah, Kyle, let's go.
Good luck, Kyle.
There are dozens of you.
We have some super chats still. If you want to pull a couple of these up, KJL291 for $20. Thank you, sir. Or madam. Lay off the Jewish midget. Her rendition of "We Represent the Lollipop Guild" was gold, baby. The Lollipop Guild. Remember that shit?
I don't remember her doing that. I do remember the bit though where she goes into the prison to try and speak to Isaiah, and she follows this guard, and the guard pulls a gun and points it inside the cell, and her response is, "What are you doing?" And then he shoots them, and then she says, "Put the gun down." And then he turns it over, and then she shoots. Like, fucking, you're supposed to be A, Mossad, and B, fucking Black Widow. How are you this shit? And also, why can't you act? And why are you so small?
Florence Pugh.
She was betrayed by the editing in that scene. It was so poorly edited. Like, she's standing there watching him just kill these people. She easily could have at least saved one or two of them. I think we talked about this last week. You and I, Jedi Brooks especially, were like harping on this. But yeah, she pulls out her gun right after he's killed these people. She just watches him murder them.
Oh yeah. She sucks. She completely just brain
terrible at her job. Like, she's the head of security.
Like, hey. And then she gets betrayed by the editors and just vanishes for a second and then pops back. It's just so fucking the hell, man.
How does a former Russian, Black Widow for the Soviets, become head of American security?
Oh, I'll raise you one. How does the guy who shot JFK run for Congress?
I forgot about Bucky.
Honestly, though, that's probably the most realistic thing that happened in the MCU, because I feel like if the guy that shot JFK came out and he was like, "I want office," he'd probably get a good amount of votes right now.
Fucking Bucky.
Like, that's not how. No, American politics doesn't work. Kennedys are allowed to kill people, but you're not allowed to kill Kennedys. That's how American politics works.
Dragon Balls D for $1.99. Don't worry, I won't get you demonetized this time. Well, thank you.
That's usually my job.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we've said Jewish midget so many times that it's already happened. So.
I think my very first time on this podcast, within 10 seconds, I said retarded. I'm pretty sure that was my debut. Like, oh shit.
I'm gonna read this next one.
Sure.
There you go. Intent matters. Yeah, it does, baby. I agree with Bagface about Lost. What's up? It's one of my favorite shows ever. Its biggest strengths were always the themes and the characters. I'm confident everyone on the panel would view it much more favorably if they watch now.
Why? Agreed. Because you liked it? No, that doesn't make any sense. I agree with Bagface. I liked it too. Great. We're talking about it being shit and making no sense. And not whether or not you liked it.
There's two of you.
Good luck to the two of you. You really think you and Bagface are gonna fucking be enough to outnumber all the people? You and him are the only people who've ever defended that show. You don't have the numbers.
The only people ever.
I'm in 2 lost Reddit threads or Reddits. I don't know what the hell they're called, but I chat with people a lot about how good it is. There's a few of us.
Well, people is a bit of a stretch. It's just you and alt accounts talking to each other.
Yeah, I'm really good at it though.
Hemorrhoid hurts for 2. Reacher bar fight, woman bash someone. Nonsense.
Huh?
I didn't watch
Reacher.
Yeah.
No, I've not seen it either.
Hemorrhoid again, still hurting for $2 more. Picard, French accent and eye patch, fucking nonsense.
I only saw clips of that. It did seem pretty stupid. I don't know what was going on.
And hemorrhoid again, still hurting for 2 more. Disney Star Wars, explosive diarrhea of gibberish.
Are these haikus?
They might be. Counting the syllables. Bisected Tuscan Raider child for $7.99. Listening to Xander talk about Lost is painful. How the fuck do you watch that show 5 times and think they had a plan? Just wrong.
You see how the guy who was on board was like, I liked it too, and the guy who's not actually has a reference. I think it's always interesting, man. References are king.
I'm just smarter than all of you. That's my excuse.
Our friend Hemorrhoid Hurts again for 2. It's all shit. Everything I love is shit. Damn.
That's the stance I take. It's great.
Oh, fuck. Well, we did an hour and a half. That's what I figured we would probably be able to accomplish here with the topics we had.
said 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, 30 minutes. Damn. That'd be the shortest episode ever for sure. I don't know. Anything else you guys wanted to bring up or talk about?
I've still got my Castlevania Nocturne review. It's awful.
Do you have any hopes for like Superman or Daredevil? Which one do you have higher hopes for?
I have higher hopes for Superman. I think Daredevil will be better than Superman. But I want Superman to be good. I don't even like the character of Superman. So the fact that I actually want it to be good is saying something. And I haven't quite put my finger on why I care about it being good so much. I don't know. I just want to see a good Superman story. I think it can be done. I think it's out there.
Smallville, bringing back Tom Welling and doing a low budget thing with him, an old man Superman. I think that would have been one of the safest things they could have done. Because a lot of people like Smallville. That's the last bit of Superman content I remember enjoying. But who knows what to do with this? It's in James Gunn's hands now.
Yeah.
I think this is just going to be the Batman where everyone thinks it's the main people, the normies, are going to say, "Oh, it's the best thing ever," but it's going to be a kind of mediocre movie that's massively overrated. It'll do well. I think about 700, 800 million.
Well, is it going to have the luck that the Batman had with the Penguin? Because the Penguin, like, retroactively improves the Batman. It makes the third act more bearable, and it makes people, like my friend who didn't like Batman, watch Penguin with me and wanted to rewatch the Batman. I feel like millions of people probably did that. Give it a second
I don't
chance.
think that matters because the Batman still, people go like, it's the best Batman movie ever, and it isn't.
It's not.
What's your favorite Batman movie?
Batman Begins.
You like Batman Begins better than the Batman? What the fuck?
Yeah, I think it's the best. I think it's the most underrated superhero movie, and I think it's the best Batman movie by far.
It's the most coherent, that's for sure.
But yeah, I think it'll do really well. I don't think it's going to get 1 billion, but I think we're basically going to get a mirror of the Batman, where it'll be like a shit third act.
I think Batman failed where when the fourth act started, because that's kind of how many acts that fucking movie had.
Just wouldn't stop going. Like
1 through 3 was pretty good. And then you
when the Riddler had his little freak out in the jail cell was when my jaw almost dropped in the theater of like his performance there. That's not how it was supposed to go. Where he just had his little panic attack. That was fucking bizarre,
became an insta meme
instantly. Like I'm still in the theater looking around. Like, this is so uncomfortable, man.
Is anyone recording this to turn it into a fucking meme?
It's a meme right now. Yeah, that was bad. You didn't have another take, bro? Like, come on.
The fact that the Riddler was a Redditor and he's going, "What's up, guys? Committing terrorist attacks. Hope you all got your guns and your night camo ready."
Just want to thank the panel one more time for coming on, and thanks for all the super chats, you guys, for everyone who sticks around through all this. We really appreciate all of you. And that'll do it for this week. We will see you next time. Platoon, I'll let you hit the button since it's
right. Yes, I can do that. Goodbye.
Bye.
Peace.